What's going on today, guys? It's Invader, and I'm back with another video. And before I get into the video, if you guys could do me a huge favor, slam the motherfucking like button. And if you're not subscribed, be pretty cool if you subscribed. And if you don't want to, well, that's fine. I'll just go fuck myself, I guess. Anyways, last thing I'm gonna mention is, because I've been asked this previously on some of the past videos I've done with this gameplay in the front. This is Star Wars Battlefront 2. It was recently on sale for like $5. I think the sale has ended. I know on PC it has for sure. It was on sale on consoles too, but yeah, this is Star Wars Battlefront 2. This was, I really want to say this is the last decent DICE game that came out. And yeah, this game is a lot of fun. I've been playing the fuck out of it. And yeah, let's get into the video. And for today's video, I wanted to talk about Battlefield 6 and some of the things Battlefield 6 needs to avoid doing. They want to be successful, right? And the previous two Battlefield games, I'm going to be honest, sucked. And there were a lot of reasons they sucked. Battlefield 5 is certainly better than I remember it. I definitely feel like that game was a little bit better than, I thought it was at the time it came out, and I slandered the living fuck out of it. Granted, not here on YouTube. This is a little bit before the YouTube channel, but yeah, I was talking all sorts of shit about Battlefield 5. Battlefield 2042 is probably one of the worst, if not the worst, I don't know, like big map, sandbox multiplayer shooter I have ever played. It might be the worst multiplayer shooter I have ever played. And yeah, I just wanted to open up the video with that. And Battlefield 6, first of all, it has to avoid all the issues that it had with Battlefield 2042. And a lot of it was just simple shit, right? If I log on to Battlefield 2042 right now, the mouse input is laggy as fucked and delayed still. The game launched almost, 4 years ago now? The mouse input is still absolutely terrible. I've heard Enders, fucking Battlefield YouTuber, complain about it to no end. Every single time I click on this motherfucker's videos, he's complaining about the mouse input. And, it's one of those things that's like, look, granted, I play Battlefield with a controller on PC just because I've been playing Battlefield on console for a long ass time. Granted, I did switch more recently. I've been playing a little bit more keyboard on Battlefield 2042. The last time I played it, I wasn't playing on controller except to, play vehicles. But still, man, the mouse input was terrible. It was laggy, and you can't have something like that for a first-person shooter on PC, right? The mouse and keyboard inputs have to feel good. They have to feel smooth. They have to feel snappy, right? It can't feel like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fucking milliseconds delayed. It just can't do that. The other thing Battlefield 6 can't do, and I don't want to see it do, and I've been seeing a lot of it from other franchises, right? Particularly Call of Duty. But no wacky skins. I don't want to see a Beavis and Butthead running around on Battlefield. I don't want to see Nicki Minaj's. I don't want to see basketball players like Kevin Durant or Devin Booker. I don't want to see that shit. I just want to see basic, nameless soldiers running around that you could customize. For the most part, that's how it seems the game's gonna be. We'll see when we get our hands on it, but like, let me put a fucking, let me change my dude's like camo color on his fucking uniform, right? Or like some shit like that. Like, I don't want to see animated bullshit skins. I don't want to see operators either. And I know they brought the class system back. It's not going to be like 2042 where there's actual operators that you have to pick to play as, which I'm going to be honest, really kills the immersion. But I'm going to bring up Battlefield 5. Although I did say I was too harsh on this game. One of my biggest gripes with this game was some of the operators that you could choose to play as, right? You could literally, instead of choosing to play as a random German soldier, you could play as some fucking, heroic, made-up fucking lesbian warfighter, right? And, that could be who you play as the engineer class. I don't want to see that shit. No operators, no wacky skins, none of that bullshit. And I just feel like a lot of the wacky skins, man, like, for games like Fortnite, man, that stuff is okay, right? Because Fortnite, first of all, the game is kind of cartoony to begin with, right? Like, it's not meant to be a very serious game. And granted, yeah, sure, Call of Duty may not meant to be a very serious game. It's more like, an action game, right? As opposed to like a war simulator, right? And like, I don't want Battlefield to be like a war simulator, nor do I want Call of Duty to be that. But I at least want the games to know what they are, and I just want Battlefield 6 to know what it is and not do any of the wacky, crazy skins just because EA and DICE, want a quick cash grab and want to make a few mil very easily and effortlessly, which, I mean, considering what happened with 2042 and the backlash that COD is getting right now, I feel like if DICE and EA were to do that for Battlefield, they would get a lot of backlash. And I'm thinking back to 2042 where they did receive a lot of backlash for some of the more colorful skins that they did. And it was nothing like the shit that they had in Call of Duty, but it was certainly, they were weird. Some of the launch skins with 2042 that came out like early on that were really, immersion breaking, I want to say. Granted, that game had no fucking immersion to begin with because everyone's running around as an operator. But my whole point is none of that shit, right? Last thing, well, not the last thing I'm going to mention, but another thing I'm going to mention is when the game comes out, it has to properly function at launch. It can't be completely bare bones, much how 2042 was. And, this goes down to having basic shit like a scoreboard on the screen, right? Like just simple shit like that, right? Plenty of content to play, not a bare bones amount of content, which it looks like there's going to be plenty of content for us to play. I think they announced like 9 maps, a few game modes. Rush is back as a featured game mode again, which that should be fucking awesome. It's not just Conquest and Breakthrough like it's been for the past few years. But look, it's all very exciting, but DICE has done a lot of bullshit in the past. Like I said, you got the operators from Battlefield 5 and shit, and, 2042, the fucking dumbass skins, right? I genuinely don't remember the last time a Battlefield game launched relatively bug-free. I want to say it was actually Battlefield 1, and that game came out almost 10 years ago now. It's been a long-ass time. Look, DICE has a wonderful opportunity with Battlefield 6. They can't mess this up. And look, considering where Call of Duty is at, and look, Call of Duty is Battlefield's main competitor, I guess, if you want to call it that. Granted, I feel like they're different games to a degree, right? Just because they're military themed, it doesn't mean I necessarily think they should be competitors. They're still both very different games. But this would be a good year for Battlefield to steal some of Call of Duty's thunder and, and kind of make a comeback, man, because I'm not going to lie, Battlefield has been dead for the past, the past 2 games that Battlefield has come out with have sucked. And Battlefield's basically been dead since Battlefield 1 came out, right? Battlefield 1, like I said, it was the last decent Battlefield at launch, but it was probably the last decent Battlefield game to come out, right? Like, it had a real great theme, and I really hope DICE kind of looks back at some of their previous Battlefield games, not just Battlefield 4 and Battlefield 3 because, they're modern, but take a look at Battlefield 1 and what made that successful, right? And maybe try to copy some of those things, right? And don't do what Call of Duty's doing. Don't do what you did in 2042. Don't do what you did in Battlefield 5. Granted, there's some things I liked about Battlefield 5, like the fortification system and things like that, all right? I just want Battlefield 6 to be successful, and not saying, I want it to kill Call of Duty. I just want Battlefield to be back in a way, man, because this was one of the GOAT franchises when I was growing up. Battlefield 3 was fucking huge back in my day when I was, like 17, 18, and, high school age, right? 16, 17, 18. It was huge, and I'd like to see Battlefield back in that position. And who knows if we'll see it, man. I want the game to be successful. I want it to be fun to play. I need something to play because everything else just kind of sucks. Not necessarily, that the new games coming out are suck. It's just a lot of them that are coming out aren't really my cup of tea. I'm just a bro that likes to bullshit on Call of Duty, play some shooters, maybe play, some action games, every now and then, like some open world bullshit, maybe a little bit of Madden every now and then with the fucking boys, right? I just want Battlefield 6 to be successful. I see the vision for this game. And I don't want DICE or EA to fuck it up, because DICE and EA, look, before I end the video, I gotta say this. DICE and EA are completely and utterly fucking incompetent for a lot of different reasons. And I feel like the main reason DICE is incompetent is because of EA. It's not necessarily because of them. I think they have a great dev team. I think DICE is actually a pretty good game developer when their head isn't being shoved up their own asses by EA because they want to go after, Fortnite, Roblox, fucking, 5-year-old stealing their mommy's credit card revenue, right? Like, I feel like DICE has been hamstrung by them. But anyways, guys, I want the shit to be good. I don't want them to do the same shit they did in the past. That's all the time I have for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm out. Peace.